and I found a really nice story that comes all the way from Saudi Arabia. This story is really old, like almost 60 years old, but it is really scary, and I want to share with you guys this story. This story is happening to Teresa and her family in the late 1960s and the early 1970s. So Teresa and her family, they moved from Jeddah to Riyadh into a small home that used to belong to a general of the Arabian military. Upon entering that home, Teresa felt lonely, sad, and she immediately knew that this house was haunted. And at the time, she was 11, her brother was 7 years old, her younger sister was 5, and her other young sister was only 9 years old at the time. And did I say that this is happening in the late 1960s? I think I said that. Teresa mentioned that the house was surrounded by eucalyptus trees. I don't know how to mention that. And she said that it reminded her so much of the Big Bird from Sesame Street. The house they moved into was empty for years, and it took them a long time to get used to the house. And the interior of the house was had this green painting, had a really light, bright pink color and white. And the mother, Teresa, always made sure that their children don't go near and don't open the cistern that is in front of their lawn, because she was afraid that one of her children will fall down and drown. Everything was going all right until the paranormal activities started. One day, Teresa was home alone. Her sisters, and her brother and her mother, they all went to the store, and she was home alone while they went to the store. As she was home alone, she began to hear a woman calling her name, Teresa, but in a really rapid way, in a whispering tone. Teresa was scared, and so she got up and she was walking around the house trying to get away from that voice. Unfortunately, in every room she was going to, this woman kept whispering rapidly her name, and it was super loud, according to her. So she decided to go sit at the porch and wait for her family to return from the store. However, Teresa was not the only one who was experiencing paranormal activities. Her baby sister, that is 5 years old, her bedroom was down the hall, and she would always claim that the ghost was terrifying her. So when I say ghost, it's the woman whispering the name of Teresa. Almost every night, the baby sister of Teresa will come to Teresa's room and say the ghost is near and cuddle near her, and Teresa will console her. This ghost also had this habit of waking up Teresa by bumping her head, and every time Teresa will wake up, she will see a face close to her, but instead of it pushing out warm breath, it was pushing out cold air. She was petrified to the point where she couldn't even move. She couldn't even breathe. She slowly covered her face and trembled back to sleep. Teresa mentioned that everywhere she would go, she felt like there was always someone watching her in that house. Another incident happened to Teresa and her mother. One morning, Teresa was in the kitchen talking to her mother, and suddenly they started to hear heavy footsteps coming from the entry of the house down the hallway, and it stopped in front of the kitchen doorway. They were expecting to see someone because of how strong and heavy the footsteps were, but you guessed it, there was no one there, and it really scared them. Teresa's mother, including her, they thought that it was the dad, but however, the dad was still in bed sleeping. Teresa said that when she would be doing chores and just laundries and activities, that house activities, she would feel this presence, this ghost, this woman engulf her. She will feel heavy, and she will feel what this ghost is feeling: sad, desperate. And sometimes when she would see that the ghost scared her, the ghost will feel playful and she will also feel this feeling. Teresa only had the chance to see this ghost by the side. So this ghost will appear to her by her side, but she wouldn't see directly. If she turns her gaze to the side where she thinks the thing is, the thing will disappear immediately. One afternoon, Teresa felt compelled to go and open the cistern. The cistern that the mother warned them to not open. But she said that they were kids, they were stubborn. So she went there and she slowly opened the cistern. And as she looked down there, she saw two pairs of big eyes looking up at her. And those eyes went down the cistern and she was shocked. She slammed the cistern door shut, she backed away and ran into the house, terrified of what she just saw. 1 year later, her father repainted the entire house, and oddly enough, the paranormal activities ceased, but not all the time. She was still being woken up by the spirits. However, the paranormal activities was stopped. And in 2008, many years after, as they were talking about their memories and what they went through as young kids, Teresa opened up to her mother and said, "Mom, this is what I saw at the cistern. I saw two eyes and stuff." And the mother started to feel really uncomfortable. The mother decided to confess about what she knew about the house and what she realized. And when she realized that the house was haunted. At the house, the minister that used to live there had an Egyptian maid, and that Egyptian maid apparently was still with them during the time that they were living there. And the maid explained to the mother the background of the story and why they might feel like the house they're living in, was haunted. The minister's wife and the minister were living together in the house. Everything was going really fine until certain activities started to happen. One thing led to another, and this thing caused this issue between the wife and the minister, caused the minister to murder his wife. After murdering his wife, he placed her body down the cistern and let her body go down the watery depths. And the mother said to Teresa that what you just told me is scaring me, because those eyes you just saw means that her body is still down there and her soul is not at rest. Teresa said she finally had closure and she finally understood why she was going through these experiences at such a young age. For me, this story is pretty scary and it's also really sad, and it gives this nice sensation because you understand why this hunting was even happening in the first place. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys have any other stories to tell me, please email me or DM me here on TikTok. I'll be happy to share your experiences here. I've also decided to not only share paranormal stories, but to share all kinds of stories, because in general, I just love stories, and I'm here to share stories with you guys and also share the word of God. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.